Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 1. Okay, first let me say that I really enjoyed Season 1 of Star Trek. I liked that it was dark and different, you know. It's been a really long time since we've had a new series on air. So I really looked forward to Season 2 continuing on the journey. Um, I have to say that I wasn't really happy with the first season. I didn't read in advance a lot about what was upcoming in this series. So when Pike showed up and took command of the ship from Saru, I really wasn't impressed. Pike, as you know, was the captain of the USS Enterprise before Kirk, and he played actually a very limited role in the first series. What ended up happening is they cast an actor to play the captain, and they didn't like him, and they didn't like many members of the cast. So they recast William Shatner and added a few people. And sort of went from there. And then because, cheapness, they decided that they wanted to use some of this footage that they did with the old captain, and they created a 2-episode arc with Captain Pike. You've also seen Captain Pike in the rebooted movies. He was obviously the captain of the USS Enterprise when Kirk boarded it for the first time. Here's the deal. I really would have liked to see Saru be captain. Um, I really like his character, and we've never seen an alien helm a spaceship. And it seems to me that Star Trek is really ambivalent about running away from the idea that a white male should be the captain. And don't throw Cisco at me, and don't throw Kate at me either. I get it. Yes, there have been other examples, but it seems to me at the end of the day, um, what the Star Trek world really wants to promote is a white male captain, and then everybody else running around taking his lead. And to me, it was made worse by the fact that he was so jocular. Um, they didn't really give Pike his own personality. With the exception of the fact that he didn't actually speak like William Shatner, taking these long, odd, awkward, dramatic pauses, he really does come across as Captain Kirk with a different name. I challenge you to show me how he's different from Captain Kirk, especially the Captain Kirk of the new movies that have been done in the last few years. And I feel like if they were going to introduce Captain Pike to the show, they should have given him his own distinct personality, something to make him stand out, some reason to have him on the ship, something that he is adding to the show other than just being Kirk by a different name. So I'm kind of disappointed with that. I don't know if we're stuck with Pike for the entire season, but I really hope not. I really hope not. Now, one of the things Star Trek has always done is it's always messed with its own timeline. And I think this is a problem when you have a show that has been around, or a universe that has been around for as long as Star Trek. After all, Star Trek is 50 years old at this point, right? So keeping a straight timeline is something that the show does not have a history of doing well. And I think last season, one of the things that was pointed out is the fact that Michael is Spock's sort of foster sister. I don't know how else to put that. And it doesn't make sense that in all the time that we've seen Spock, that he's never one time mentioned Michael. So this episode decided to deepen the bond and show Michael bonding with Spock's mother and the jealousy that this incited in Spock. Michael and Spock do not have a good relationship. I think this is their way of explaining why it is that Spock never mentioned her because he had plenty of time to do so. But it's clear that, Michael has things to say. Spock has gone off on some kind of journey. He's taken some kind of leave from the Federation. So I expect that to tie in somehow, which makes me wonder who they're going to get to play Spock. I very much suspect we are going to see, um, at least very briefly, a Spock in Enterprise this year, excuse me, in Discovery this year, if they decide to follow the thread. I really, at this point, believe that the writers need to have confidence in themselves. Discovery takes place 10 years before the original Trek went on their mission to discover strange new planets. And like anything else, obviously the technology and is far more advanced, right, than the original. I mean, let's face it, it's the 1960s versus 2019. I mean, we have money to throw around on special effects now, and people don't have to wear like ugly alien costumes. That being said, I feel like Discovery's leading too hard on the original Trek. It should have confidence in the characters it's created. Should have confidence in the story arc it's created, and attempt to be its own thing. It shouldn't be leaning as heavily on it, because the bottom line is this: you were never going to make all Star Trek fans happy. And if that is the mission that you're going for, you're going to fail. Fandom is always going to have something negative to say. They don't like this, they don't like that. This is the way that fandom works. But even as they're having negative things to say, they're still watching. Even if it's just to be critical of the fact that they don't like certain things about the series, they are still watching. So this is the second episode now, and I think that the writers on Discovery need to accept the fact that this is a different ship, a different crew, set in a different time. Yes, same universe, but different time. And go out and tell unique stories, stories that we didn't see on the original, stories that we didn't see in the movie reboot, and let the characters fully realize who they are as people. That is what Discovery needs to start doing. Discovery needs to put its own unique stamp on itself so that we can begin to see it as a different entity, the way we all do Star Trek Next Generation, Enterprise, um, etc., and etc., right? We all see them as unique little parts of the Star Trek universe. And I think it's time, it's a junior. Star Trek Discovery is at a junior stage, and it's time for it to grow up and be a senior and have some confidence in its own mission.